Hello and welcome to our first video about factoring. This is going to be about factoring out a greatest common factor. Those might be words that you remember. The difference between the greatest common factors that you found in middle school and what we're going to be doing today is that our greatest common factors also include variables, and that might not be something that you're familiar with, but we're still looking for the largest number and variable combination that two numbers have in common. So we're going to start with a little review of how you can find a greatest common factor. And so one way is to write prime factors. So I'm going to do that by making a factor tree. And so I'm going to divide 24 and I'm going to find two numbers that multiply to be 24. 24 can be 2 times 12. And then I'm going to break down each of these numbers until I get prime numbers, prime factors. So 2 cannot be broken down anymore because it's just 1 times 2. And then 12 is 2 times 6. That 2 can't be broken down. 6 is 2 times 3. 2 can't be broken down, and 3 is just 3 times 1, so that's as far as we can go. So 24 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. 3 2s and 1 3. 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. And then we also have this x squared. And so the x squared is x times x. And those are the two parts that make up the 24x squared. We're going to do the same thing with 32. 32 is 4 times 8. 4 can be broken down into 2 times 2. And we know from before that 2's can't be broken down anymore. 8 is 2 times 4. And 4 is 2 times 2. So let's see, we have 5 2's. So 32 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And then x. And so now as we're looking for the greatest common factor, we look for what they have in common. So you'll see that 24 has 3 2's, and 32 also has 3 2's. So I'm going to box the things that they have that are the same. 24x squared has an x, and 32x has an x. So these things in the pink boxes are what the two terms have in common, their greatest common factor, which is 2 times 2 times 2 times x. Except we don't want to write 2 times 2 times 2. We want just one number. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8x. So their greatest common factor is 8x. Now, how do we use that to factor out a GCF? Factoring is like the opposite of distributing. So it's like undistributing. So we're going to start with something that just has two terms. And when we rewrite it down here at the bottom, see it has parentheses. It's going to have parentheses with something that looks like it could be distributed. So step number 1, we're going to start by writing our polynomial in the box. Because we're undistributing, we're going backwards. We're starting in the box and working our way out, unlike last week where we started on the outside and tried to fill in. Write the polynomial in the box. Step 2, we find the GCF. We've already done that. That's all the work here on the left. And we put the GCF in the front of the box. So the 8x is going to go on the left side of the box. And then step 4 says you can divide each term. That totally works. You can do 24x squared divided by 8x. If you've written out the prime factors, though, the parts that go on the top of the box are the leftovers. So in 24x squared, the leftover parts are 3 and x. So 3x goes in the first column. And in 32, the leftover part is 2 times 2, which is 4. And so then step 5 says we are going to write our answer. The GCF goes on the outside of the parentheses, and then the leftover parts on the top go inside the parentheses, 3x plus 4. And then step 6, as you know, we like to check our work all the time. And so we can check our work with this, and we check by distributing. So if we distribute, I'm running out of space, 3x times 3x plus 4, 8x, excuse me, times 3x plus 4. If we distribute, 8x times 3x is 24x squared. And then 8x times 4 is 32x. And you can see that's exactly what we started with. So that is good to go. You should stop this video now and go and watch the second video about factoring out GCFs.